As you are looking at sources, secondary sources to use for your literary analysis, where you are examining an author's exploration of resilience in a poem, I want you to take some notes. I'm going to show you how I would take notes, especially when you are using something like a YouTube video on resilience or growth mindset, to get some quotations that you can use for your secondary sources. You're going to be required to use 3 quotations from secondary sources, so I want you to have the exact words used by the speaker in the video. So the first thing that's useful to do is to make sure that you open a document and you want to take notes on your document. And when I'm taking notes, I want to format the works cited for the source and then put my notes under that. So here's one where I just copied and pasted a link to a video, and I'm going to show you how to do the works cited for it. So I just did a quick Google search and I found a library, a college library that has some information on how to cite a YouTube video. So they tell me that the general format for citing online videos is as follows. Remember, we're using MLA format. So conveniently, they give a demonstration of a YouTube video, which is the most common type of online video. So you want to put the title of the video in quotation marks. So they have an example of that here. Then YouTube, if that's the website that you found the video on, goes in italics. It is the container. It contains the video. So if you hear me talking about containers, that's what I'm talking about. So where is the source? Is it contained in an online place, a website, or is it in a print journal or an online journal? Those titles of containers need to be in italics. And they come right after the title of the shorter thing. Short works, their titles go in quotation marks. So the title of your video in quotation marks, title of the container, here it's YouTube, in italics. Put a comma here. There is a period, by the way, inside the quotation marks after the title of the video. Then YouTube in italics, comma. Then uploaded by, you literally will put those words like here, uploaded by, and then even if it's a crazy name, because sometimes, you know, those upload names are weird sometimes, and then give the screen name. Then day, month, year, as you already know, that's the format for writing the date in MLA. So here it is, the day, month, year of the video. And then the link, whatever the link is, you'll just copy and paste it from that search bar. So let's go back to my notes and I will open this video where I just put the link. That link part is the end. I am going to leave that link because that's going to go at the end if we remember from our instructions. I have put this on split screen so hopefully you can see here's my source. So here's the information that I'm going to need to follow. And they have given an example here. They show you kind of where everything is, right? So let's do that. I'm going to start with, what does it say to start with? The title of the video. Here's the title of the video. I could copy this and then paste it to my source here. And then it is all in bold, which I don't love. I'm going to fix all the font in a moment. I'm going to start this way though. Then what does it say to do next? I put YouTube in italics next because that is my source, as you can see. Where can you see? But you can see YouTube. And comma. I need a little space. I don't know what that extra thing is, but YouTube should be in italics. Make sure it's in italics. and then hit space, and then what do I put next? I say who it's uploaded by. TED Talks is probably one of the more academic sources you can use, so that uploader is going to be useful there. So I'm just going to copy what's there. Oops, and there's a space, TED Talks. And I should say uploaded by the way they told me to, right? I should say uploaded by and then put the screen name. And I italicized YouTube, but this other stuff should not be in italics. So I just highlight that and then hit my italics thing. If you're missing your italics thing, maybe you have to click home to get to it. All right, so then put maybe a period. I'm going to check. Uploaded by screen name, comma. So let's put a comma there. Space. And then day, month, year. Where do I find that? Let's look. You can look here and see the day, month, and year. We're going to put that in MLA format. Day, month. Put a period if you're abbreviating the month, and then year, 2016. And then do I put a comma or do I put a period after the day, month, year? Let's see. Day, month, year, comma, and then that address, the URL, which I left there because that's what I copied and pasted in there first. So I want this URL to be back with this other stuff. Now, I don't want anything in bold, so I'm going to highlight it all, hit the bold bar, and that got rid of my bold. If it didn't, it might bold everything instead. Just hit it until the bold goes away. Another thing that I need to do is to make everything 12-point Times New Roman. One way, if you want to get an entire document in the correct font and spacing and all that good stuff, hit Control A. A is an apple. It highlights everything. So hold down the CTRL control button and then click A. It highlights everything, and then in one set of organizing or setting up your font, it changes everything. So 12-point Times New Roman, and then let's look at spacing. I can go to these three dots, go to line spacing, 2, everything should be double spaced. Now these are just notes here. So I'm keeping my notes separated, so I might even, put a big old line or something between my separate sources. When I get ready to do the works cited, I want to make sure that I have a hanging indent just for my sources. So if I were going to do a works cited, I would not want my notes on there, so I would create a new document. And really, you would copy and paste this into the last page of your essay because you don't want your works cited to be a separate document. It's the last page of the essay. So when I get ready to copy a source, I can put it in my new works cited document that will later just be, I have to hit Control V to paste it. V is in Violet. Now I really want to make sure that my hanging indent is there. So back where I did the spacing, I go back and do a hanging indent. To do that, go to Special Indent and Hanging. There it is. Don't try to do the hanging indent with a space bar or anything like that. Don't try to use the tab key. It'll all get out of whack. All right. So I can add sources there. For the literary analysis, I will have at least one primary source, one poem, and 3 secondary sources. And I want to make sure all of my font is right. It's driving me crazy. So anyway, that's how to get your works cited information done first so that you don't decide not to do it later. and then just take your notes under it. As the speaker is talking, I will pause and write down what he said that I thought was interesting. And then I look at where the timestamp is, and then I make my best guess as to where it started. So I figure this quotation starts about 5 seconds before it ended. So you can make a good guess about the timestamp. But for the parenthetical citations for each source, you want to make sure that you have the timestamp. And then whatever's first in the works cited for the source is what goes in the signal phrase. So when you are ready to use a quotation from a source, you will want to introduce your source or the quotation in a way that makes it clear which source you're talking about. So I might say Charles Hunt in his TED Talk. Oh yeah, you know what? I left off something important. The TED Talk title, the video title, goes in quotation marks, y'all. Let's fix it here too. Good grief. I've been doing this a long time and even I forget things. So little details are super easy to forget. And it's much easier to see other people's forgotten details than it is your own. So do check those things out. Have a tutor look at it with you. Don't hesitate to have somebody else look at your things. All right, I'm going to finish this signal phrase and show it to you. All right, so I want to make sure that it's clear whose ideas I'm quoting and where I found them in TED Talk. And here's the title of the TED Talk. The way I have this set up doesn't flow well, though. I need to rethink a word or two here. So Charles Hunt in his TED Talk, What Trauma Taught Me About Resilience, says, or Charles Hunt in his TED Talk, or says in his TED Talk, or claims. Sometimes just says gets boring, but it can be useful, so don't discount, the boring words. Sometimes they're clearer than the more elaborate terms, or, we sometimes think we can't use the same word twice, but that's not true. Sometimes variety is good, sometimes it's confusing, and you have to use your best judgment there. All right, so this is better. And make sure that you use red for your signal phrases and use a yellow highlight for your parenthetical citations. All right, these are just notes. I don't have any good ideas about how I'm going to use this, and I may not even use this quotation in my actual final essay, but if I were to use it, it should look something like this. But for just taking notes, I just slap down the notes and the timestamp. Okay, so you can do that too as you explore videos on resilience. All right, let me know if you have questions. The next step will be to combine or to pair some interesting quotations about resilience with actual lines of the poem, so you can show how the poet is exploring how the speaker of the poem has been able to be resilient. So that's our goal. Good luck.